Hey Covalence friends, so if I had to guess, this is probably the video that you have been anticipating the most out of this entire series. And if you haven't caught anything else in this series, be sure to go ahead and check them out on this playlist, and make sure you subscribe so you can see all of the later videos that will be coming out with email auth. But magic links are just plain cool features to implement, so let's go ahead and dive right into the code. Well, that was a little bit of a soft clap. Still kind of getting used to that for, cutting videos, but it's fun. And I'm having a great time doing it, so I hope you guys are having a great time watching it. I've got a new branch here called Magic Links, and I've got all of my other branches managed and everything pushed what needs to get pushed. So if you want to follow along for a specific video, I do have the branches outlined in the README. I'll have to update the Magic Link stuff here, and you can selectively check out which one you want and watch it in conjunction with whichever video you would like to do. But Magic Links, they are going to be the cooler one. So let's think of general workflow. I'm going to do the UI approach first. Let's go ahead and get our server up and running. And while our server is loading up, let's go ahead and get the app launched. So Magic Link functionality, you probably want to have that implemented on your login page. So I'll need to do some conditional rendering and see if the email is filled and if the password is not, and if we are currently logged in, show a Magic Link button. So we've got some conditional stuff to evaluate, but it's really not that bad. Let's see. I'm just going to copy paste this button for now. I know it's still associated with the login function, but we'll choose a different event handler for that shortly. I just wanted to make sure I had the same style. Although I might actually... I'm still getting used to Material UI, so I actually have no clue what their primary colors look like, but I do like their secondary. It's a nice, like, pinkish purple. Alright, so this button, I want to conditionally render based on several conditions. First and foremost, we have to be in login mode. So we'll short circuit is login, and we'll need to see if the email field is populated. And, we'll only show this when the password field isn't filled out. So we assume that if a user begins typing in a password, they're going to type the rest of the password. They're not going to, halfway type their password or mostly type it in and then click send magic link. So we'll short circuit with not password. So there's a bit of conditional action happening with that, but we should have a primary color button, a bluish one I think maybe, that says send magic link if we're in login mode and we have an email and we do not have a password. And let's see, I'm going to just default these to like the test data that I've been using, Hunter2 and Andrew at covalence.io. Can get rid of that unused import as well. All right. So, oh, hey, oh, come on, Bitwarden. Let me, I need to just remove my associations with localhost :3000. So if I'm in registration mode, we're only going to have the register button no matter what. If I'm in login mode and I have an email defined, and no password typed in yet, we have send magic link, and as soon as I start typing a password, that disappears. So we've got that nice conditional rendering happening, which is great. That's exactly what we want. And we can't, generate a magic link from our client side. That's obviously not a great idea. We would have a lot of, functionality we can't really expose or show, like sensitive API keys, for example. Can't sign tokens either securely, because that's all happening client side. We can't have any environment variables here. So I have to send like a server-side request and say, yo server, send a magic link for this user. And so it's going to be a very small one that will have a corresponding, auth route set up for in a second. So let's see. The event handler, I'll name it handle get magic link, handle send magic link. We'll call it that. And then I'm not really going to be doing anything with the click event, so I have just a button element that exists within a grid element, which I'm assuming just renders to a div. Oh yeah, still getting used to MUI, but there's no button within a form. There's no default behavior of a button click in a div, so like I don't really care to capture the event if I'm not going to use it. Like I did here, I can actually remove that. So within handle send magic link, we'll want this to make some kind of like fetch request to generate a magic link, and we can use email. And we've been using query params for a lot of this stuff, and the reason why I'm doing that is because we can just make a simple fetch request with no options object. If we were making a post request by sending that in the email in the rec.body, for our verification stuff, for the request to generate a magic link, we would have to have the method as post, we'd have to set up our content type headers, and we'd have to encapsulate the entire body. And that's, why do that when I can just have it as part of the, query params in the URL itself. So I just want to keep it simple. And if I send query params or receive them, on some kind of client-side view, I can also just extract them out and send them directly to the server, like we did with the verification page. It just makes for a much nicer, easier, straightforward application workflow. So and let me change this to some backticks. We're going to go with some template literals here. So auth magic generate. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll have like a magic link verify route, then we'll have like a magic link generate route. We'll go with that. All right. And let's see, we'll go ahead and put this in a try catch in case there's like an actual networking error, as unlikely as that is. And because like I showed you guys in previous videos, I am super consistent with my responses, whether I have data or I have an error. Errors will always have a .message property, and data, unless I'm sending back like a singular object of data or like an array of data, I usually will have my metadata include a message property. So I can almost always rely on data.message being something truthy, or something that exists, regardless of whether or not res was okay or not. And so I'll just say like if not res.okay, so if we had a bad response from the server, we can just like console.error all of data as well. All right, so let's go ahead and get some of our magic link logic figured out. I think TypeScript is just being really slow with this. Alerts. Oh, I think it's mistaking it with the window alert and the MUI alert. It should fix itself shortly. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so I need to make some backend routes for our magic link. So new file, magic.ts. And we're just going to create a new router here real quick. You know, we just are going through that usual strategy I go through, which is make something minimally, you know, viable, and export that, and then import it where you need to get everything linked up. Then you can expand on those features a little further. So we have our magic router here, and we'll go ahead and just import it. Let's see, so our GET request is to auth/magic/generate. So I need to have a GET request with a path of generate here. Let's see, it might not need to be asynchronous. I don't think we're going to be doing any like database operations here. We'll just kind of be firing off an email to an email address. One thing we can do is I like to, yeah, we have to end up doing a database lookup for that. What a nifty little feature would be is we could check to see if the user whose email we're attempting to, and this will be on like the validation side of the magic link. So it's not really concerned with this, but if we had like a router.get verify for the magic link logic, we could say, hey, if you clicked on a magic link to log in, you know, that's effectively the same thing as verifying. Like the verification process is basically just saying, hey, do you own the email you registered that account with? And in my opinion, it would actually be a great, you know, feature to shoehorn in. So I'll actually do that when we do the verification. So like you could register and then switch to login mode and get your magic link and click on that. It's effectively the same thing to me. You clicked on a link in an email for an account that you own, and the server can validate that link saying, hey, yes, that person with that email clicked on the link, and yes, it's the email and the token that we signed, and we can trust those two values. So, you know, we'll do something like that. Anyway, that's like step, you know, 3 and 4 of, you know, today's video. So steps 1 is, you know, creating the front end view or functionality. Step 2 is actually getting it sent out. And so I had this registration email, and we basically need to do the, I don't know, same thing for, like, a lot of these features kind of overlap. It's really just going to like differ in like text. So I might want to make this a little more dynamic at a later point. But let me rename this to auth emails and hope I don't break a gajillion things. Let's see. Why did I have, hold on, so many imports here that aren't getting used? That's weird. Okay, well, it looks like all of our paths updated correctly. That, I never really like to trust VS Code's auto import feature, so I'm still going to verify that, but I'm renaming this service file to auth emails just because it's now representing more than just registration stuff. But get magic link email. We're still going to get a temporary 15-minute token, so we're still going to invoke that same function here that returns just a very short-lived token. We've got that single source of truth defined. And I'm just going to change this text to say, like, here is your magic link to log in. Okay, so I'm going to change up the query params a little bit. Instead of type verify, I'm going to make that URL be have the query param of type equals magic. And then the page, you know, we can just have React router redirect slash, you know, magic link to that same verify thing. So we can actually have the same component do all the same backend stuff. So we actually might have a lot less stuff that we need to do here. And in fact, the verify function I was alluding to in the previous video, if you guys remember, about how that can do some more dynamic stuff, and actually that's what I think we're going to do for this. So I'll make this say magic link, and then I'll change the subject to magic link for login. All right, but virtually the same thing, just different strings. So like we probably can make that a little nicer, you know, soon enough. Let's see, register slash generate gets us here. We can extract the email out the rec.query. So let's go ahead and do that. All right. So we'll just go ahead and validate the email here, and then we'll set this up in a try-catch block, I guess. Just, well, there shouldn't be any error with the email itself, but we'll go ahead and just handle that appropriately anyway in case the email client fails for some reason. So we'll await send magic link email. We'll do a 500 for this and say could not send magic link, please try again later, or something like that. If I had you know, the only thing we're attempting to invoke in here is the send magic link email, which returns from the messages API create function. If there is some kind of mailgun like API issue at the moment, that could fail. So that is kind of an appropriate use for please try again later. It's kind of a useless error message, but in this case it's actually one that I will implement there because that could be, you know, a legitimate fix. So if we click that button, it's going to do this. It's going to fire that off and make that message pop up. Check your email for your magic link. So auth email send magic link, that returns call to the mail function that we imported in here, which returns that promise that the messages API create function returns. So, okay. Well, then, you know, I said it's going to this page slash magic link. So let's go back to our client side and redirect a route for that. But guess what? Like I said, we can actually shortcut a lot of this work. The verify route, the verify view itself, what does it do? It lands you on the page, makes a request to auth verify with any query params we have. My query params are just going to be token, email, and type. Doesn't matter which page I came from, per se, what the preceding path was? No. I still have the same query params regardless if I came here from the verification page or if I came from the magic link page. So if I wanted to, I could just daisy chain everything down to our server, which I do. So what does this do for us? It means we have a lot less code to write because our backend check to verify a user account is also going to pretty much be the same for the magic link verification itself. So somebody clicks on a magic link and it's the same thing as our short-lived 15-minute token. And what we can do is, let's see. So we still need to verify the magic link, of course. And if the type is verify, we should verify them. If they are also a magic link client, we can also run that query anyway. Because like, what does that query do? All it does is set them to validated. So like, even if they are, it's not even really a big deal. So we can run this regardless. So like I was saying earlier, we can actually have an unverified account, but by clicking on a magic link, we can treat that as a verification in addition to a magic link itself. So we get kind of like the 2-for-1 benefit with that, which is really cool. So let's see. So we validate the payload and extract that information out. And I mean, we can just straight up run that no matter what. So like, cool, that's fine with me. And here we can say if its type is a magic link, we can send that token up. So we'll conditionally do this. We'll say if type is equal to, my lighting. My diffuser, which is a piece of paper folded over my lighting. Whoops, got blown off by my fan. So if my type is equal to magic, we'll send up a response including a token. Else, we'll just send up that. And so we will go ahead and we've been dealing with those like short-lived tokens, but here we can actually go ahead and import the generate or the get login token here, which gives us that longer, I think I set that to like 30-day token. So that is our true login token. And I already named this variable token, so I'm just going to name this login token. And that takes, let's see, the payload of the email and a role property. Ow. Well, if I'm logging them in, that does mean that I do need to know the context of which user it is. So let me change what I sign in that token, because I don't want to have to do like an additional database user lookup here if I don't have to. Well, it's not going to happen upon every verification, just on the magic. Actually, let's do this. So I'm going to grab the user. And then here, instead of always running this, I'm going to run that in here. And so that way we can conditionally run it on magic links. So that means that every time you log in, if you're logging in via magic links a lot, you don't have to have a useless query running. So now we have the entire user object. In theory, we should. in case we can't find the user, we'll go ahead and just give a generic invalid credentials. But we can now say if not user.isVerified. Now that's some pretty cool stuff. So we can conditionally just run this for the magic link if they're not verified. So that helps prevent that useless thing. And now we can put whatever credentials we want in here, which we said for the login token we wanted the ID. The email, which we're going to take from the payload.email. That's the one that we have verified ourselves. And I think I said role, and it has to have a value of user, you know. But this is kind of like mimicking a real, you know, true authentication, like login token. So we sign that, and then, okay, I'm liking this a lot. I like it a lot better than having to do a bunch of repeat logic. So we send off the magic link, we click on it, and our browser router, you know, this is our path that we land on, but it still serves up the verify view, which extracts our, you know, magic link, which guess what? That's the same format as a regular verification link. Extracts the query params, throws all that info down to the very same backend verify route, which with the thanks of having that type here, lets us do some conditional stuff. So if it is a magic link login, we can grab the user, check to see if they're verified, and if they're not, verify them, and then we can sign a true login token and issue that up. Otherwise, if it's not a magic link, we can just resend that info. And here we could say like, oh, if type is equal to verify, you know, we'll send the registration email. Else if type equals magic, await, send magic link email. So maybe you clicked on the magic link email, but it was like 20 minutes old, so that token was expired. So you also have it automatically send again. So, you know, this is a really kind of good bolstered user experience workflow. So backend wise, that's all kind of Gucci. And then what we could do here is, if the response is okay, we can say if data.token local storage .set item token data.token. So if that token property exists in data, which, you know, it's only going to exist if we come from the magic link and not from the standard verification, we'll go ahead and set it, and then we'll nav to the home page. So let's go ahead and test this magic link functionality out, because that's pretty much everything. All right, I'm going to nuke local storage, and then I have my data, you know, set. I've got my state predefined there, so I'm just going to get rid of that, and then hit send magic link, so it actually executes that. Firing alert is not a function. Okay, let's see. Why was it having issues with that earlier? It's still thinking that MUI. Oh wait, I'm an idiot. I named sorry, I named some state alert. I was like, wait a sec. Okay, yeah, there we go. So that was just dumb on my part, just a silly little scoping issue. Alright, check your email for your magic link. And we'll sit here and we'll wait for a mailgun. So like I've said previously, you know, they might batch messages for a little while, so it might take a hot minute. There we go. Oh, pfft. Does not look spammy in the slightest. Here is your magic link to log in. So I click it, and I actually land on the verify page, successfully log in with magic link, navs me to our home page. Let's go check out local storage and see what we got. And here is a valid, true, fully fledged token done with our magic link. We just cleared out local storage a minute ago, and now we've actually got it populated with an actual real life token. And this should have, you know, my email, it should have ID of like 3, and it should have role of user in there. And yes, it does. And the expiration date is December 3rd, so it's, you know, 30 days like I wrote. So, you know, we have our magic link. So man, it's a lot of fun. And honestly, once you have the verification logic done, it really isn't too terrible implementing that on your own. So a lot of fun. Yeah, I don't know what else to add. Just conditionally render your button to have that functionality pop up. That button will invoke, the handle, you know, send magic link function, which this doesn't do a whole lot. It basically just sends your email to the server, so your server can actually kick off the process. And we've got that send magic link email function here that, you know, actually fires off the email. Clicking on it gets you to the verify page, which sends all the data down, and it hits this verify thing here. So all we had to do really was just make a link, make that link go to this same page, and on this same backend route do a little bit of conditional work. But it lets us save ourselves a good bit of trouble. And so we probably can do some stuff to kind of clean this up a little bit on later videos as we add new extra features, but that's about it for this feature. So some future features we've got remaining now are password resets, which are pretty cool to have. And of course, you obviously do not want to do those at all until you have emails verified. So step 1, you know, is very necessary for step 3. And then in addition to that, you know, what else could we do? Well, we could set up multi-factor authentication. We can let users log in with emails and passwords. And then if they have MFA enabled, you know, maybe route them to a new page where they have a panel with an input that we, you know, generate a 6-digit code and email to them for. So they have to show that they know the email and password to log in, and also have access to that email. So that's another fun feature. But until then, hope you enjoyed. Make sure you subscribe so you can see those remaining videos, and be sure to check out this playlist if you haven't seen the previous ones. Until then, I'll see y'all later.